Most of us believe in minimum work and getting maximum result. So hence, keeping this in view, I'll discuss competition law in this video. The reason why I chose competition law to discuss is, firstly, that as per UGC syllabus, there are primarily 4 sections to cover. Second reason is that every year you might have witnessed that at least one question has always been asked. So therefore, if you do some calculations, so by covering only 4 sections from this act, you have got high chances to procure 1 to 2 marks. Hello everyone and welcome to Juris Such Academy. In this video, I will be discussing about the relevant sections of competition law. So before we start with the Competition Act 2002, let us just understand in a layman language that what is competition meant to be. So competition is defined as a process of economic rivalry between market players to attract customers, right? So to control this rivalry and protect the interest of customers, there is a need of a legislation so to allocate the resources efficiently. So the first legislation introduced in India to regulate competition was MRTP Act, and it was enacted in year 1969. But this act happened to be badly failed. The reasons were it was failed to curb cartels, it was failed to curb monopolies, and it tended to prevent expansion of companies, which is completely against the growth of any economy. So after all this, finally on 13th Jan 2003, the Competition Act 2002 came into force. So starting with the object of Competition Act, let us have a quick look at what is given under its preamble. So the first point is that there will be establishment of commission which will prevent practices having adverse effect on competition. It will help to promote and sustain competition in the market, and this Competition Act will protect the interest of the consumers. So before us, we do have 4 sections that is talking about anti-competitive agreement, prohibition of abuse of dominance, and regulation of competition. So these are 4 sections, 4 relevant sections around which the entire Competition Act is going to revolve. And this is also crucial for your UGC NET exam, right? So let us start with this. So let us start with anti-competitive agreements. According to Section 3, no enterprise or association of enterprise or any person shall enter into an agreement which causes or is likely to cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition. So there are certain type of agreements which is taking place between enterprises. It could be like production, supply, distribution of goods and services. So if there is presence of anti-competitive clause having appreciable adverse effect on competition, those kind of agreement will stand to be void. Now, according to subsection 4 given under section 3, you are going to find the list of arrangements or agreements that is likely to cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition. So before us, we do have 5 types of arrangements or agreements. So let us pick one by one. So first we have tie-in agreement. So according to this agreement, a purchaser of goods is being induced to purchase some other goods also. Or we may say that the consumer has been induced to buy a complementary product with the main product. Like if we take the example of Kinder Joy. Kinder Joy is quite popular amongst the kids. So in Kinder Joy, you will also get some complementary toys. So the fact is that the consumer needs only Kinder Joy chocolate. He's not interested to buy the toy, except few cases, of course. So in that 40 rupees, your main product plus the cost of toys has been also included. So basically it is a kind of tie-in agreement. You don't need the complementary product, but you still have to buy that complementary product. So the next agreement we have is exclusive supply agreement. So according to this agreement, you are basically restricting a person to acquire or deal in any goods only from that particular seller or any other person. Like supposedly if manufacturer is asking dealer to exclusively buy goods from a particular supplier. So over here what you are doing or what the manufacturer is asking, he is basically restricting the dealer to only deal with a particular supplier. So the third agreement we have is exclusive distribution agreement, and this is quite similar to the previous one. So according to this agreement, the supply of goods can get limited or it could be restricted to any particular market area, right? Or just to simplify it, if a manufacturer or supplier is authorizing only one distributor to carry out within that definite region, within that definite market area, then we call this arrangement as exclusive distribution agreement. So fourth, we have refusal to deal. So according to this arrangement or agreement, you are basically going to restrict. And this restriction, it could be of any kind. On whom you are going to apply this restriction, it could be person to whom the goods are sold or from whom goods are bought. For example, if there is an agreement which provides that the franchisees will not deal in products or goods of similar nature for a period of 3 years. So this kind of arrangement will come under the refusal to deal. So last, we have resale price maintenance. So this is a kind of agreement that generally occurs between a supplier and its reseller. So according to this, it generally requires the reseller to sell the goods or services concerned at a minimum price which has been already fixed by the supplier. So like we have an example that any stipulation that the cement dealer shouldn't sell below that stipulated price is a resale price maintenance, and this will come under the anti-competitive practice. So there is one more essential part given under section 3, in which according to subsection 5, exception is being given, right? And herein you are going to find IPR related arrangements or agreements to which the Competition Act is not going to apply. The reason is quite simple. Since IPR created temporary right in favor of the IPR holder to exclude others from using that IPR. So taking care of this, Competition Act has exempted the IPR agreements so to encourage the prospective inventors to innovate and create IP, right? So herein, 6 acts are given, and according to which the Competition Act is not going to apply. Now we have section 4 that talks about the abuse of dominant position. And according to this, no enterprise or group shall abuse its dominant position. So let us just quickly know that what is dominance position which the enterprise may enjoy. So the enterprise, if it is operating independently of competitive forces and it is likely to affect the competitors or consumers in its own favor, then we can say that yes, that particular enterprise is exercising or abusing the dominant position in the market. What are the ill effects of this position? It will impede fair competition between the firms, it will exploit consumers, and it will also make it difficult for the other players to compete with the dominant undertaking on merit. So this should be avoided. That is given under section 4. Now let us quickly see that what are the certain examples relating to the abuse of dominant position. So the enterprise which is enjoying the dominant position in the market, by abusing that dominant position, it may impose unfair conditions of price. It may execute predatory pricing. What is predatory pricing? It is just selling off your goods or services below the cost of production. Or it may limit production, market or technical development, or create barriers to entry of the new entrants especially. And there are other examples also, you may have a look. Now under section 5, you are going to get the concept of combination. What is combination? When 2 or more enterprises are coming together to form a new enterprise, or they are merging or amalgamating into the one enterprise, right? And how the merger could happen? It can happen through the acquisition of control, shares, voting rights, or assets. So the combination or merger or amalgamation of the companies is considered to be healthy for an economy. But sometimes a situation may arise where the merger or amalgamation is taking place to cut down the small traders, or just to take out some enterprises out from the competition, out from the market forces. So to control this kind of situation, we have section 6, which will regulate the combination. So if any combination which is causing an appreciable adverse effect on competition, it will stand as void. But it doesn't mean that the combination overall will be prohibited. No. But if an enterprise proposes to enter into a combination, they shall give a notice to the Commission within 30 days of any such combination. Now your important part from Competition Act is being done. So section 3, 4, 5 and 6, they were primarily covered under your UGC NET syllabus. Apart from those sections, you may have a look over these sections also. The reason is that section 27, it was also asked in the previous attempt, I mean in 2020 attempt. So you may have a rough look over these sections. It could be relevant for your exam. Please like this video and share this with your friends, and subscribe with Georesearch Academy to get the further updates.